and here I am once again so soon. I'm Adela from the Yarn Creations podcast, YouTube channel, Yarn Creations on Facebook, and Adela_Yarn Creations on Instagram. And I do give as much information as possible in the description box below. So just check that out, please, if you are not sure what I'm talking about. I'm not great on editing, so I try and give as much information as possible. Not always the links, but I do give all the information. And please go and watch the finished objects episode first, because I've got two patterns that I want to gift. One is for the Stella shawl by Jill Conradi, and one is for the Tropical Sunset shawl by Mariana Miller. And I'm not going to keep it open too long, I think more or less a week. And so please go and watch that first. And with that's an episode with all my finished objects. What episode number? I think it's 35. Then this one will be 36 with all my works in progress, because I had too many finished objects to share, because it was 2 months since I podcasted before that, and it was just too much for one episode. So here I am with all my works in progress, and there's quite a few. So where shall I start? I think with the one that takes up most of my knitting time at the moment, and that is a test knit I'm doing for Jane Renton. Jane Renton was also on our yarn retreat in October. It was so lovely. It was organized by my friend Isabel. And if you don't follow yarn retreats on Instagram and Facebook, please do so, because you never know when there will be a next one. If there will be a next one, then the best way is to follow her there to see if she's got anything planned. I'm not sure yet, but we had a lovely retreat again at Noordhoek in the Cape Province in October, and I met Jane for the first time, and Bridget was there from Cowgirlblues. I've met her before a few times, but it was lovely to spend some time with them. They are both two very lovely ladies with a lot of knowledge, and be on the lookout, I think in January or February, I'm not sure, but I do have stuff that I want to gift, but I think I'm going to leave that for the new year, just to make things easier with December holidays and all the complications with that. So the test knit I'm doing is, it's a lot of knitting. It's a shawl. I do enjoy it a lot, and I can't wait for it to be done, so that I can see how the whole shawl will look once it is washed and blocked, because it's always difficult, because there's some lace in it as well, lace knitting, and it's always difficult to see, to get the right impression of the project if it's not completed and blocked. And I think that is the most enjoyable moment of knitting. While I'm enjoying the process, I do enjoy the moment that I put it into water and soak it, and then put it on a table and block it nicely. I don't block anything aggressively, but to see that in product and how it softens up and how the lace opens and the patterns open, I really enjoy that part of a project very much. So I'm not going to show you the shawl because opened up. I'm going to leave that to Jane and Bridget when the pattern is launched in January. I think the pattern will be launched in January, so I'm going to leave that to them. But I would like to show you parts of it so that you can just get an idea of the beauty. This is the lace. So I'm using all Cowgirlblue yarns, and there's quite a story behind it all. So let me start at the beginning. This is a lovely bag that Cowgirlblues, that is made by Cowgirlblues. We received this beautiful little bag at the yarn retreat in October with all little gifts inside. And what they do is they use all their scraps of yarn at the studio. And I've been to the studio. I visited the studio in March when I went to the March yarn retreat. Isabel was so kind to organize with Bridget for me to visit, and she gave the dye demo, and I also saw how they make and organize all these yarn scraps. So they organize it by colors, and then they stitch it onto the bags. It's just beautiful. They also make cushions that you can buy. I think you can buy the bags online and you can buy the cushions online. And it's Cowgirlblues is really an amazing. She gives work to 10 ladies. So and supports support to their 10 families actually. So it's really a labor of love. A lot of work go into running an organization like that, and Bridget is really a lovely lady, and this is part of the work that she creates for the ladies in the studio. They dye yarn and they work with the yarn, and then also they make these bags and they sort these scraps and they stitch them together in cushions and the bags on the bags. So yeah, that is very nice and lovely. So originally I chose to do the shawl. It calls for a merino twist, one skein of merino twist and a skein of merino lace and some kidsilk. So I chose the Tracy Chapman merino twist colorway. Beautiful, beautiful colorway. It's this one. And then also the lace is also in the Tracy Chapman colorway, the merino lace single, in the same colorway. But I first had to, of course, swatch. You know, I'm not really a swatcher, but I had to swatch because I had to see which kidsilk I must hold with the lace singles to create two contrasting colors for one of the patterns in the shawl. So I took Bridget gave me a few samples of the kidsilk to try out different combinations, and this is just to show you what difference it makes when you use different colors of kidsilk with the same merino lace. So throughout I use this Tracy Chapman merino lace single, but I use different kidsilk. That is a combination of mohair and silk. And at the end I really like the yellow, but not one of the other colors gave me enough contrast. I was a bit worried about that because they all had a green yellowish tone to them. So luckily I found one color. Just see the guinea fowl is the one, guinea fowl. So I'm using the yellow kidsilk, lemon, it's called lemon, and guinea fowl. So that is the top one, was the one that worked the best for me, that gave me the most contrast with the lemon kidsilk, held with the Tracy Chapman merino lace singles. So this is the one combo, and this is the other combo, the lemon and the merino lace singles. So this makes like for a green, it's quite green, but it's lovely. I really like it. It's just something different, you know, just moving around a little bit and trying new colors and working with new colors is, it's always good. I think it's good. So that's that color. You will not see the lace because it has to be blocked to really see how lovely the lace pattern is. And then the guinea fowl with the singles is this one. So then you must, I'm sure you are asking, but you don't see the Tracy Chapman merino twist. When I started knitting, I just couldn't get enough contrast in the one pattern where you alternate the two combos of the kidsilk with the merino lace singles and the 2-ply merino twist, where you alternate that in the one pattern. I just couldn't get the contrast. There was just something, I wasn't entirely happy with it. Maybe for someone else it will be perfect, or if I chose different kidsilk held with the lace, then it might have worked better. So I had this skein as well, and it's of course the Madonna colorway in the 2-ply merino. You know, I love the Madonna colorway. That's the same color I used in the Easy Color Work cowl that I did. It's also Madonna, the merino twist, and I love how this is working with the lace and kidsilk combos. And yeah, the turquoise, the one turquoise color is in here as well, and there's even the green colorway or green spots is also sometimes when I knit I come across that little green spot that's exactly the same color as the lemon held with the merino lace single. So I'm really enjoying this knit. I don't have that much more to do, but still I think the part that I have to do will take me a while. But unfortunately I do have enough time to finish that, but that's kind of a priority knitting for me at the moment. So yes, that is then the test knit I'm doing for Jane Renton with the Cowgirlblues, the lovely Cowgirlblues. Love the, it's always very interesting for me to see, here's all the colors of the kidsilk that I used. So I will just keep this as a reminder and also of a sample, as a sample for what you can create with different colors of kidsilk. Very interesting always. So that is the one project that I'm busy with. And then I'm busy with socks. I'm trying out new needles. And that is the Cardi needles that Mariki from Coloursofamalfi imported. She stocks the Tulip products, and she recently ordered these Cardi needles, the fine gauge that you can use for knitting socks. It's almost the same as the Flyers by Haya, how do you pronounce it? I'm not sure. And the Added Crazy Trios, I think. So it's where you have the 3 needles. So it's a little bit easier for me than I'm not a fan of knitting with DPNs. I'm just not, I can't get it right. So this 3 needles I can work with. So you have it works almost the same as magic loop. So you've got your stitches on the 2 needles, and then you use the 3rd one to knit with. And what I like about the tulip ones is that this part, the tip, the needle tip is longer than any of the other makes. It's in bamboo, so you can use it on when you fly. And I can knit with this the way I knit English style. This is much more comfortable for me than the other brands, because their tips are much shorter. So I find this much more comfortable. It does, you can just screw it out and then add other sizes to the little cord or cable, and it swivels. And I can even add my longer needle tips to this, should I want to maybe knit sleeves or what. I want to try them for sleeves, and then add my longer tips. So they just screw on, so you can you only have to buy one set like this that includes everything. It includes the 3 cables and the 6 tips. So the whole set is in this little box, and then you can just add other sizes or use your other sizes of your tips, fine gauge needle tips, with this cables. And I'm using a Opal shaft butter. I don't know how to pronounce it. And the colorway is 9753. That's how it knits up. Like how it looks when it knits up there. Yes, I wind it into a cake. I find it much easier to work with. So that is the one pair of socks. I do love my little, I love proteas, and this is one of the I love Supreme bags. It's a company that makes bags and I think tablecloths, and I've got all these beautiful fabrics, but I always choose the proteas because I do love my proteas. That's the national flower of South Africa. So that is the one pair of socks, and I haven't knitted a lot of socks this year, and now I've got 2 pairs of socks on the needles. So that is the one pair, but I think that will be a long-term sock project, because we use it as a sample uh, on when there's Stoepmark, the last Saturday of every month, where Mincy from Knottyhabit and Mariki from Coloursofamalfi sell their yarn and products. So this is then an example of using those needles if someone wants to see it. So I think that will be a long-term project, maybe for a few months, so that we can use it on the Stoepmark. And then the other pair, one day I was just feeling, I wanted to just start something, a sock, something portable, and I was just feeling like I want to start something new. You know that feeling, I'm sure you know that feeling. So I'm using a knottstopper by Knottyhabit, and here is how it knits up. Beautiful, beautiful color. I've had this in my stash for, I think, more than a year, and I think it's time to use it. I love it. So it makes makes 3 color stripes, and when you buy it, it's wound up in a ball, but I rewind it into a cake. I just find it much easier to use a center pull ball. So I rewind it into a yarn cake, so that I can pull from the center. That's just what I prefer. And here I'm just using my Chiagu lace needles with a very fine cord. It's interchangeables, but I never change anything. They just stay like this. I've got a needles and a cord. I've got a few sets, and every set is the needles with a cord, and I just twist them quite tightly, and they never come loose. And that's just how I use them, and I never take the tips off the cord. This is, I think, 80 centimeter. So all my socks, I sometimes forget to say that I knit cuff down with different heels. Most of the time a heel flap and gusset, but I think I'm going to do Kay Jones umbrella heel for this, so that the stripes can stay the same. It's my usual 20 rows of 2x2 rib. And what I do is, for the pink and the orange, it didn't bother me, but the orange going into the green, I didn't want a mixed pull bump color in the front. So when I come to the green color, I just knit one full round, and then I continue with a 2x2 rib, and that gives you clean lines in your ribbing. So every time you come across the dark color and you don't want the colors to mix, just knit one round and then continue with the ribbing of 2x2 or 1x1 or whatever you do. I love how this looks. I'm sorry if I squint a lot. I find that I can't see. My far sight has gotten worse. And I must wait a little bit to see what happens with my eyes, if I should get a lens replacement or what. So I will keep on squinting when I have to see what's going on there. I try not to do it, but I'm sure I am doing it. So I like to start with 68 stitches because I'm using 2.25 needles. I find that the superwash yarns do stretch a little bit, I think if you want to use a 2.5 and you usually knit 64 stitch socks, then the other alternative is to use then 60 stitches. But I enjoy knitting it with a 2.25, and then I start with 68, and for the leg, just to make it a little bit, I don't like my socks too tight on my leg, and 20 rows for the rib and 60 rows most of the times for the leg. I might go do 70 because I want to use more of the yarn. And then when I'm on the foot, I decrease 4 stitches so that I have 64 stitches. So if I do heel flap and gusset, I just keep on with my decreases to 64. But on my foot I'm 64, and on my leg I'm 68 with the 2.25 needles. So that's what the joy about knitting your own socks is, that you can just play around with needle size and stitch count until you find a fit that's comfortable for you to knit and to wear. So that's the socks, all the socks that I'm busy with, and let's see how far I get with them. So the other project that I'm not working on so much, I will work on this again when I'm done with the test knit, the shawl test knit for Jane. But I did start another Raglan summer top a while back. Yeah, it's quite colorful, but it's okay. I'm using Oneofakind Yarns, and it's the orenda base, and I've had this yarn in my stash I think for 5 years. It's she calls it a button. It's like a color changing yarn. That's a lot of work to do. I've got the two. So this is the two that I'm using. I started with this one from the inside, and I knitted until I came across some blue color. There was some blue spots in here, and then I added this one from the, I used it from the outside. And throughout I'm just alternating the two. Sometimes 4 rows of this and 2 of this, sometimes 4 and 1, sometimes 2 and 2, sometimes 3 and 1. I'm just playing around with the colors and see how it works out. Then this one in the center, the color became quite pink, and I saw that there's some blue colors on the outside of the cake. So I broke it off and started and added it from the outside. So now I'm knitting both from the outside. So it is a little bit, it started lighter and became darker and wilder. But it's a lovely base. It's a true blend of bamboo and cotton. And by true blend, she means the two yarns are spun together. The two bases are spun together. They're not just twisted around. It's not a strand of cotton and a strand of bamboo that's twisted together. I think they are spun together. So that is why it's a true blend. The yarns are blended when they are spun. So it gives a little bit of a different effect, but it knits up beautifully. And just because I'm a little bit afraid that it might stretch a little bit, I'm using a 3.25 needle, my Tulip needles, 3.25. And I just made up a new Raglan increase. And it's a one row, you just do a yarn over, knit 2 yarn over, and then knit 1 round. And then in the next round you do a yarn over, knit 4 yarn over. So the yarn overs are not lined up. They go, so there's a 1 yarn over, and then the next one will be off center. So it's first yarn over, knit 2 yarn over, knit 1 row, and then on the 3rd row it's yarn over, knit 4 yarn over. And then in the 4th round I did a twisted stitch. So it doesn't matter, you can just decide which way you want your center 2 stitches to twist. So those center 2 stitches I twisted. I did right twist and left twist, because I think you start with, where did I start? Where's my beginning of round? Is here. So when I wear it, it will be my right back. So the first twist, I did the twists that they go to the body side. So here I did a right twist, and then in the front I did a left twist, and then on the other side again a right twist and a left twist, with those 2 center stitches on your 4th round. And then you just repeat that. So every 4th round you just twist the 2 center stitches. So it gives that kind of like a mock cable. I just get bored with all the Raglan increases, so I'm just trying new. There's so many possibilities of what you can do with Raglan increases. So I'm not sure yet how far I'm going to I want to mainly finish this blue one. So I might at some stage cut this one and continue with this one. I just want to make sure that I've got enough. Oh yes, and again I'm doing A-line for the body, and every 8th round, so I knit 7 rounds, and then on the 8th round I do a yarn over for the increase. But how can I explain that? So if you put a marker there, then you will always do your yarn over at the same spot, and then the same amount of stitches. I've marked my side. I've got a marker in the side, so I do the increases, but the yarn over will look like it's going in an A line, because the stitches are getting more in between the 2 increases. So I will do yarn over, knit 2 yarn over for the first set of increase, and then on the next one I will do yarn over, knit 4 yarn over, and then for the next one yarn over, knit 6 yarn over. So the yarn overs are also going in an A line. if I can show it, if it's visible. I don't think it really is. Just for some added interest, and because I did the yarn overs in the Raglan, I thought that I can do the yarn overs here as well. And yes, wanted to, I'm always a bit scared for cotton and bamboo, especially I don't want it to hug my body at all. So I want to try and create a looser fit. I hope I'm successful with that. So that is the summer top I'm busy with. And I will come back to that one as soon as I'm done with the shawl that I'm testknitting. So that is that. What else am I working on? I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago in the winter, I think in July, I started the scrapper Cardi. I think I've got the pattern here. And it's by Safiyyah Talley. She's the drunk knitter. Here's the original pattern. It's all in garter, and I think it's in a double knit, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's in a double knit. So in July, if you remember correctly, I still had a Advent, Misslamotteyarns Advent in 2-ply merino twist from 2019, I think. So I'm using that, and I'm holding a double with kidsilk. And yeah, I started it in winter, and I didn't complete it before it got warmer when summer arrived too quickly. So in between, when it is a little bit cooler, I do work on it, but not so much. I will probably only finish it next winter, I'm sure, when it's big. And having that on my lap with kidsilk in the summer is not ideal. So I will probably only finish it next year in winter. I'll hold it up for you. Yes, I love it. It's very cozy, and I think it will be a very cozy cardigan for winter. And I love the mold effect of the kidsilk with the 2-ply merino. And I'm just playing with the colors. I did show you last time my little toolbox with all my little minis all rolled up and organized in the colors. So the body will go into, I'm busy at the moment with this green and this green moe from, I think it's a Cowgirlblues, this kidsilk. I'm using those two together at the moment. And then I want to go to, I'm not sure, maybe this and this, but with different minis. So it will get a little bit more turquoise and blue up till the end of the body. And then the sleeves, I will go to the pink colors. But there will be some pink spots in the body, and there will be some blue spots in the sleeves. I hope that's what I can create. That's the only way I could organize the minis in a way that will work, because to divide each of these 25-gram minis into yarn for the body and the 2 sleeves, that was just too troublesome for me. So I decided to use some of them for the body and others for the sleeves. And I do like the increase on the yoke a lot. I didn't want to start with a cream in the in this ribbing here, neck ribbing, because I'm not sure if doing cream, because I wanted it quite high, and I wasn't sure that having cream here where your makeup can maybe stain it, I wasn't sure that that was such a good idea. So I did a little bit of grey and then went to the cream for the lightest colors. The kidsilk, I'm using some from Coloursofamalfi and also from Misslamotteyarns and from Cowgirlblues. And I think, if I remember correctly, this is from Oneofakind Yarns. So it's different kidsilk from different brands, and then the Misslamotteyarns Advent from 2019. And I haven't, yes, my last Advent I received was in 2020. That was the Estereza Advent, 12-day Advent, and I used that mostly for the summer tee that I had on, that I was wearing for my finished objects episode. And I haven't ordered any Advents. I've got enough minis and stuff that I can still use before I order Advents. So I'm trying to use my yarn, trying to love my stash and use my stash. I'm not sure if I can try it on. I can try. For this I'm using, I found that the bamboo, the Chelgu bamboo needles, it's got a sharper point. I don't know if you can see that compared to the Tulip bamboo. And I find this sharper tip works well because the kidsilk strand is much thinner than the 2-ply merino, that's a sport weight. I find that the sharper tips, I don't miss one of the kidsilk strands so much when I use the sharper tips. And I just find that, and because this is on the needles for a very long time, I didn't want to keep my tulips that I use a lot on a project for a non-specific amount of a long-term project. So let me see if I can try it on for you. There's still a lot of knitting to be done. Not sure if the needles is the cord is long enough. Not sure about that. Oh, lovely and cozy. I'm going to be so warm next winter. I hope we have a cold winter so that I can wear this. It's exactly what I dreamed of how it will look. And of course, when I'm done, I will do not a button band. I don't really use button bands, but I will have a what do you call it? What does she call it? A buttonless band is what she calls it. So that's what I will have as well. So I will just have a buttonless bands in the front, and I will just see what yarn is left, what I can do that with. But I enjoy this all in garter because I'm not very fond of purling too much. It hurts my hand, and I've already got quite an issue with my wrist and my hand, so I'm not going to go into the details there. So the less I have to pull, the better for me. But I think this is going to be so warm and cozy, especially with nice long sleeves. and I think it was a good decision to not go with the cream up to here, because you might stain it with your makeup. So that is the scrapper Cardi. Will probably be a year in the making. Of course, this is almost like a blanket when I knit on it. It's a lot of stitches. I'm also doing increases for an A-line, but it's a lot of stitches. So it's like a blanket. And having that on your lap on a very humid summer day is it's not the nicest experience. I think that is more or less what I wanted to show you today. And I want to thank each and every one for watching and for commenting and for your support and for the encouragement to keep on podcasting. Otherwise, someone, I think it was Megha of Skeins of Dreams, she's also got a podcast. She talked about her cheerleaders. I think she referred to her husband, I'm not sure. That's her greatest cheerleader. And I think I've got some cheerleaders as well. And if I didn't have those cheerleaders, I would have probably stopped podcasting. And I really actually enjoy sharing what I'm making and my process. I really enjoy sharing that with you. So I really appreciate your support and liking and watching and commenting, because that all helps for me to get to be visible on YouTube. So thank you for that, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.